Hi guys, okay, in my recent video I took my 62 pocket Navy and I went and upped the tension of the spring just a little bit to reduce the blow by. And let me show you me loading this real quick and then we'll come back to the range. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is going to bring the gun to half cock. Since we're going to be shooting, I'm going to take my gun butter. I'm going to take my bore brush, get a little glob of it on the end. I'm going to set it so I'm between two chambers so I don't go all the way down in the chamber. And I'm going to thoroughly make sure I've got that bore fully wet with that. That'll guarantee that I got no fouling coming up through there, and so the ball will run without having to run dry through that barrel to start out with. Now I'm going to be shooting 20 grains. The reason I like those medicine bottles is because I can just put my, like a little holder right there. I'm already set to 20 grains, what I was using last time. Fill the chamber up, knock off the excess, bring it up, dump it into the chamber, take one of my home casts that has been lubed, drop it in with the sprue straight up, rotate underneath, send it home. I'm going to do that all the way around. Another little thing that I do is I've just dumped the powder in there. Take and tap it with your knuckle and kind of settle that powder down. I found that helps with accuracy because it kind of gets the excess air out. And kind of like what you do with drop tubing when you're doing cartridges, they have found that it makes them more accurate. Now the old guys back in the old west talked about that, of dropping the black powder down a long tube when they dropped it into the actual case. And it appears the only thing I can find is it kind of settles the powder and gets the excess air out and leaves less air chamber. So I pour in my powder and then I give it a little knock with my knuckle, and that you can actually watch the level of the powder in the chamber drop. It seems to settle it somehow, and I found it gives me more consistent accuracy. Now, trying to keep that sprue straight up can sometimes be a little bit of a hassle, but I found it does help with accuracy. I dump my powder into my powder measure, and I kind of tap it and settle it. You'll watch it drop down, and then I cut off, so I'm dumping less powder out, and it makes for more consistent charges, shot to shot, as opposed to just raw dumping for volume. And this is the last one. Okay, now we're completely done like that. I'm not going to put gun butter over the chambers because I've already got the bore lubed. I don't need it. Now I'm going to apply number 10 Remington caps, seeing each one down with my thumb to make sure they're fully on the nipple. And the whole purpose of this little test is see how much fouling blows back here. Since I've increased the mainspring just a little bit with my recent video, putting it down on a pin because I'm at the range, does it hold a little more pressure? I'm going to have less blow by and less fouling back there. That's what the whole purpose of this test is. Now I'm going to go put my target up and put my eyes on, and we'll shoot and see how well it does. Okay, now that we've got it loaded, all chambers are loaded, what we're looking for here is, does it put less fouling underneath the hammer? That's what I'm looking for. As you saw, I've already lubed up my bore, so that's all going to be nice and slick, and I don't have to put any lube on top of my chambers because the whole purpose of putting, you know, whatever on top of the chambers is to add lube down the barrel. I've already done that, so I don't need to do that. Consequently, if you load up here on top of the chambers, it just blows out a lot up here, and it dirties the gun up and fouls the gun up quicker, in my experience. I just go ahead and lube the bore pretty heavy, as you saw, because the whole purpose is so that when the ball jumps into the barrel, it's a lube surface. It isn't going to have fouling. It isn't going to grab and smear the lead and it hits a dry spot. It's lubed all the way. And so it also, after the shot, the fouling is on greased lands and rifling, so therefore it's lubed. And so therefore the fouling doesn't build up, and shot to shot doesn't make a hard cake, okay? We're on the opposite end. We're back here where it's blowing that up under the hammer. Now, as mentioned earlier, I'd replaced the nipple, so it's got a smaller orbis. Now I'm trying to hold a little more spring pressure to see if I can reduce the cap jam, which I'm only getting maybe 1 out of 25 or 30, and that's just the way the cap splits. I'm holding a little more tension. Will the cap split and not blow back underneath? That's what this is for, and how much fouling is getting underneath. By upping that spring tension, am I holding a little harder against that nipple, and the less is going to blow out. So let's find out. Now I'm going to be at 10 yards shooting at my target down there. I got to put my ears in right quick. Okay, now I got my ears in. I'm going to be at 10 yards shooting. Okay, I can tell you right off the bat, fouling is much less back here. Now these are Remington number 10 caps. I did have one that was pancaked out, one to jam up here coming out the ejection port, but none of them went under the hammer. But now the gun's completely empty. As you can see, a lot less fouling. I'd say at least 2/3 less from that. Usually by the end, and you can see the little mark on my thumb, because my thumb is right there and that gas is blowing down. It's holding it and forcing it to run down around the back rather than running down in between the hammer. So that is distinctly an improvement. I wasn't shooting for accuracy. It was okay. But what I was looking for was how well it keeps the action working. Now, again, that Remington number 10 cap, one of them busted, and when I went to cock, it wanted to jam in the rotation because it had come off the nipple and was just trying to hang up in rotation. Other than that, I'd turn upside down and dump it out. And then if you'll notice, I shot a couple times and I just turned it upside down and give it a little bump, and it fell. And it was because it was hanging onto the nipple, and I wanted to go ahead and get it to drop off. Yeah, I think this was worthwhile. The whole purpose of this was in the fouling right there, much less. Plus the fact you can now look and see the side of the hammer. Usually whenever I fired, that hammer was solid black all the way down both sides, like that. Now it's not. Yes, I do have some fouling in there, but comparatively, I got that much in one shot before. So upping the mainspring just a little bit by that did help with fouling right there. 7 yards and taking my time. doing fine. The only thing is there's Remington caps light to grenade and become little fragmentation. So that's 15 rounds fired through. And yeah, it's getting a little bit on there, but I used to do that in like one set. So I'm getting 3 times as much reduced fouling than I was before. Let's see what I did. One, two, three, four, five. A group like that tells me that I'm vertically stringing and I'm not seeing my sights that well, which I will readily admit because I'm old, I'm half blind, and my blood sugar's a little off and my gun barrel's sitting there doing that. So yeah, but still, that's all in the size of a hand. That's all it ever has to be. Well, that experiment was successful. Hope you've enjoyed this video, guys. There'll be more videos coming up in the Percussion Revolver series as time goes on. And with these little percussion guns, these little pocket models, that mod may be worthwhile for you. Hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, guys, I'm Blackie wishing you safe journeys. Have a great day, guys.